recording now. This is the Land Use Committee meeting. It's on December 13th. And I think we'll go around and just have everybody introduce themselves so we know each other. My name is Ann Mazar, and I'm the chair of the Land Use Committee, and I represent the Community Preservation Committee. And I'm just going to have the people here introduce themselves first.
Hi, I'm Elena Brugos. I represent the select board on this committee. And I'm fairly new to this.
Okay.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Liz Weeks. Just a very good concerned citizen.
And Doug Weeks.
All right. So Barry, can you introduce yourself?
Barry Adderall, planning board representative.
Laura?
My name is Laura Backrack. My husband and I just moved to town about a month or two ago, so I just wanted to check in and see what's going on in town.
Awesome.
Exciting. Thank you for coming.
Awesome. Thank
Welcome.
you.
Thank you.
Frank.
Hi, I'm Frank Nero, just a member of the Land Use Committee.
Gregory. Do you want to unmute Gregory? Not. All right, we'll go on to the next person. Carolyn?
I'm Carolyn Barthel. I'm a member of this committee.
All right, Kurt.
Hi, everyone. I'm Kurt Labuti. My wife and I and two kids moved to Mendon 3 years ago, and I'm a volunteer land steward for Meadowbrook Woods. It's nice to see everyone.
Great. Did I get everybody? All right. Why don't we skip to the hike, discussing the hike challenge, because I think that's what most of the extra people are here for. So, and if you read the minutes, I mean, the agenda on the website, it was kind of a mess because I duplicated many things. So sorry about that. So the idea of the hike challenge, Upton did this, and they had 10 different trails that people could go on. And the challenge was to do 6 of them. And then in Upton, they had a drawing for a book on the history of Upton. But a lot of people like this idea because it would get people out on the trails in Mendon, which there are a lot, and a lot of beautiful open spaces, and it would introduce people to it. And it'd be something that'd be fun to do with, you know, your kids, the scouts and whatnot. And so we just want to organize it a little bit. Bill Dykey is a trail steward, and he was interested in helping out. And he said that he would help like map out trail suggestions. Some people had suggested it might be fun that the people that meet the challenge would get a patch. A lot of people like that idea. So I think there's a couple, I'll throw out some thoughts and then, you know, please join in. One thing we need to do is update the trail markers just so that people don't get lost on the trails. That would be a good thing to do. Trail stewards could help on that. Mike Panko from Upton also said he could organize the maps so that we had 10 separate maps and specific trails if no one else could do that. Kathy Schofield from the Historical Commission said that it might be fun to point out historical sites. So pick some trails, like especially like in the town forest that have you know, old foundations and things like that people could see. And then we would have to advertise it. And another consideration is having some trails that are ADA accessible. And so that we don't have too many of them. That's something that would be nice. We would like to do near the senior center, but we do have some trails that could be incorporated. And then the time frame probably would be springtime before the summer. So what would be great is if one person might want to kind of coordinate it and sort of just to pull things together. But I mean, I would definitely help out, and so would the Land Use Committee. So I'm just throwing that out there. So let me ask if anybody wants to talk, has ideas or suggestions or whatnot about it.
I have a question.
Yeah. Okay.
Is this so it's just like a town sponsored activity that we're doing right now? Is there an organization that's sponsoring this meeting?
Yeah, I mean, the sponsoring group would be the land use committee, which is meeting now.
Okay.
Yep. And the town would be, yes, sponsoring it.
Yeah.
And we have some money in the land use committee account that we could use towards this, so. I don't know, Kurt, what thoughts did you have?
I think this is exciting. Well, one, because people like lists. They like to check things off on a bucket list. And two, because I have two daughters and I'd love to get them out on the trails. And three, because we're new to the area, I'd like to see more of the area. I mean, I've been in Meadowbrook Woods and going to the other part, what is it, Cormier Woods.
Mhm.
Yep. But aside from that, we haven't really explored too much.
Uh-huh. Yeah, and that's the idea of this. Yeah, so I think that's great. And I'll just mention Kurt was super helpful this last summer coordinating the water chestnut cleanup on the Inman Pond, which is on the Meadowbrooks property. And so thank you so much, Kurt, for that. I really appreciate it.
Well, I plan to be here for a very long time. So it
Good.
seems in my vested interest to be involved.
Good. Yeah, I think it's a fun activity to do with families and especially young kids, you know, like challenges like that. So
Right.
Yeah, actually,
Upton also, go
my
on.
daughter is now in the Girl Scouts, so I think that's, you know, they deal in patches. So I'm excited about a patch thing. And not only that, but with regard to the cleanup at the pond, there was a girl, Jess, that had to drop out, you know, due to family issues, but she lives on asylum and she does this like hiking thing. She's hitting all four, or there's like 14 mountains that meet a certain height criteria, and you can get a patch for each one. And then once you complete that, you get like this whole bigger patch, maybe. You know, it's like you've done the 4K mountains or whatever it is. So, you know, it's something that some people can look forward to. I don't know what the height of Mendon is, maybe like the 400 footers or something.
Yeah, that's about the height that.
If we're
height
lucky.
elevation.
Yeah, we don't have a lot of hills around here.
Yeah, but it seems like a
But
cool
I-
idea. But I'd like to see it to fruition.
Yeah, I agree. I think, you know, as a new person coming into town, you know, I can see all the forests and I just wonder where all the trails are in order to go through them. So yeah, I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, I mean, we have the trails on the website, but it is kind of nice if we organize it and lay it out as a challenge, you know, for people. So, and I also like the idea of, you know, Kurt, it's wonderful. You have a connection with the Scouts. And because I think those are two good, you know, really good groups to pull in on it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I also like the historical commission, you know, popping in and also, you know, talking about the history as well. That sounds really cool.
Yeah. Because there is a nice foundation up by the tower. Up by the old fire tower.
Mm-hmm.
There's an old foundation up there that could be researched and talked about. And you can walk into the foundation and around it. It's really cute to know what the history is and who lived there and whatever.
Yeah.
The new people that are on here, Laura and Gregory, I don't have your emails. And if you want like to be on an email list, if you just go to the town website and go to the land use committee and send an email, then I'll have that and I can just kind of let you know what's going on.
Sure. That sounds great.
So I will chime in. So I also love the idea of bringing in the historical sites as well. I think, yeah, this has the potential to get a lot of people interested. And if I didn't have so much else going on, I would totally volunteer to do this. But I'm pretty well overbooked for the spring. But I will definitely support whoever is able to take this on.
Yeah, I don't think it will take too much effort by one person because we have trail stewards for each property. So in terms of like getting the trails ready, we could ask the trail stewards to do that. You know, if they need spray paint or whatever, you know, we have money to get that. The patches we could buy, and I was thinking that, you know, maybe just using like the town seal and then some kind of a writing on it that people would get.
Yeah, we have been working, we did a lot of the town trails during COVID. So that was a great thing for us to do with the grandkids. And it was wonderful to see how many good trails there are out there. But then we became really invested in the Meadowbrook Uplands, which is right behind where we live. And we did a lot of the mapping and the posting of signs and arrows and blazes. So we know that like the back of our hand. They're great, great trails. But we've also done all the other ones too, up by the fire tower and Inman Pond. But I know there's a lot more that we probably missed. We haven't gone through every single trail. But we have done the trails and we've done the mountains that collect the patches and you know, you write in what you hiked and when and with whom. And we've kept this, we've done this for how many years now? 48 years. Yeah, and we've got, you know, tons of information about all the hikes we've taken and all the mountains we've taken.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. We did, last couple of years, we finished up the Belmont Range. And they do something similar where they have a patch and there's like,
Yeah,
I think there's 12 mountains in that,
Mhm.
in the Belknap Range, and then we've done
yeah.
We've done
And the
lots of
Wapak.
so, but I know there's a lot of, from
Yeah.
doing that and running into people, I think that's just an incentive. It becomes a hobby.
It's just
and-
a fun, you know,
Yeah,
way to.
Yeah.
to look at.
Would you be willing to share some like pictures of the patches that you
Oh my
got or
gosh.
like other materials
We
so that we
cut
can
tons of
Oh,
them.
yeah.
see like a
Tons of
model?
them,
Because
yeah.
a lot of times it's easier to do this when
Yeah.
you're just,
We have them
piggybacking
for
on-
individual mountains, plus we have them for ranges that we've
yeah,
done. too.
I mean, I would be interested in
Both.
probably
seeing.
yeah.
about
Yeah.
430.
Yeah. we've
Oh my
done a lot.
goodness.
We've done a lot.
Wow. Wow, you really
In
have.
here and in Europe too.
I feel like,
We've done a lot.
yeah,
Yeah.
you'd
Yeah.
probably be
Well, I like
excellent
the idea.
consultants for
I
this
like,
project.
I like the idea of doing
Yeah.
that. I think that's
There,
fun.
there's one website I found that they have like a generic mountain patch, then you can put your own writing into it.
Mm,
So that's an
I
idea.
have that someplace. I can
Mhm.
find it. But these aren't really mountains, really. They're
These are
talking about
trails,
It's a
yeah.
little
Yeah.
Different.
Definitely.
I like the idea of amending something that's specific.
Specifically meant,
Mhm.
yeah.
and was the idea that this might become an annual event?
possibly,
or-
yeah. hmm
Mhm.
See how it goes. I mean, people seem to be excited about it, so I think there'll be participation.
And I think the Cub Scouts and the Girl Scouts would be really a good thing
Mhm.
for them to do. I mean, these trails are not hard. I mean,
Right.
they're not mountains. But you walk by some very interesting things. You see the beavers and you know, like I said, the foundations of old homes. There's one where there's some etchings into a rock that you
Mhm.
can, you know, look at. Really some fun things for the people to look, and the vegetation and the wildflowers and everything else like that. It's really fun for them to learn.
hmm
Yeah.
Well, so I think that like different people, excuse me, maybe how we could proceed then is, I could send out an email and then ask specific people to do things
Mhm.
to kind of like Kathy Schofield, she might be able to pull together the historical stuff.
Mhm.
The land stewards, Bill Dykey, or anyone else, is anyone else
Bill's good,
interested
yeah.
in figuring out the trails? Because that might be something that people would want to work on together.
Yeah, that, we could do that.
Yeah.
We
Okay.
could help on that, yeah.
Okay.
Because we know a lot of them, but there's still others that we haven't done. And I think I worked with Bill when we were working on the Cormier trails years ago. I think he's the same guy. I
Oh,
worked
okay.
with, yeah.
I have a question.
Yep.
I'm, how, I agree that there are some really interesting historical pieces, you know, bits along, you know, parts along the trail. How would we, how would we present that information to people? Would it be in a flyer? Would it be on a sign? Would it be, how would we let people know what it is that they're looking at?
Maybe, I don't know, that's something that we'd have to figure out, but maybe it would be on the maps that we make where we're specifically showing where the different hike challenges are, you know, we could have like numbers, and then when you get to that number, we'll have the number on the trail, and then, you know, something like that. I know that the town forest, I know, has actually signage so that, you know,
Mhm,
in those
yep.
situations.
Yeah.
But I know like in Meadowbrook Woods, they have really cool old foundations
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
they're not labeled or anything. So that might, give people incentive to mark them.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And I saw Carolyn had her hand up. Carolyn, did you have a question?
No, that was my point. I wanted to ask, how would
Oh.
we tell people, how would we inform people about the historical relevance of the different pieces of, the different sites along the trails?
When do you think a good time period would be to have it? It's like maybe a 2-month period that we would do it, like April and May, or what do you think?
I don't know if
think
it has to be a
Shouldn't it
timeline.
be a time limit?
I don't
I
think
mean,
there should
That's
be.
true. Or like an end to it, maybe sort of like I feel like at some
Right.
point we have to have an end to it,
I-
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure.
People might spread it out for a year or so.
Yeah.
They might not be any rush. If they felt they had to finish it, they
Well-
might not even start.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's,
I wouldn't want it in hunting season though, so I
Well,
think
true.
so maybe the summertime might be a nice time to do that because people are home, kids are home,
Right.
so maybe the end
But it's
date would be,
also really buggy
right.
and ticks and all that sort of stuff. Winter hiking is so nice.
Yeah.
Believe me, we love winter hiking. So it depends. I mean, people have different feelings about when they want to hike.
So maybe it could be, as soon as things are pulled
Yeah.
together, we could start it
Mhm.
and then have it end like September 15th or
Right.
something like
I
that.
think there has to be, like, when we've done ours, there's you have your checklist basically of where you've been and we date it usually. And then whenever you complete that list, you submit it to the committee or whoever, and you get your little patch or whatever,
Mhm.
But I think it has to be a kind of an ongoing thing. You can't stop. I think people need to be able to do it whenever they can do it.
Mhm.
I wonder about having some sort of like intermediate deadline as an incentive for people to start, like some sort of bonus, like thing that they get if
Yeah.
they start early. Cause I know a lot of people have good intentions to do it and then
Mhm.
just put it off.
Yeah,
they do a calendar year,
yeah.
Yeah.
like, so the trails for the year of 2022 or 2023,
23.
that way people would be free to go almost any season.
Anytime,
Mhm.
Where the fall is probably the ideal time for
Right.
hiking anywhere.
depending, like I said, on hunting season,
Yeah.
but
Well, Barry, this is a good question for you. So, like, do you think it's, as long as people wear orange and things like that, and we, say that it would be fine to be in the woods, but maybe not during shut, or something like
yeah,
that?
whatever the weeks are for hunting.
But it was just finished.
When does the hunting season start?
It depends on what you're shooting.
Yeah.
Right, I know,
October.
that I know.
And
I
what
just
October.
when does it all
firearm you're
start?
using. Yeah, there's
Runs
bow
October to New
season,
Year's.
there's
Okay,
rifle.
okay, Barry.
Runs October to New Year's,
Shotgun
and,
season.
I mean, as far as, it's tough when you're hunting archery, you're in a tree stand, you're putting the time in to hunt and develop stand sites and stuff, and you got people running around the woods.
Right.
It just blows everything out,
Hmm.
so, I mean, you should
When-
run the
when
thing
does
from
archery-
January
when
and
does
then
the-
stop it in mid-September and then start it again New Year's.
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking something like that too.
Yeah, that's safer.
I
that's
mean,
safer.
Or if we had it during hunting season, say that, Sundays, because that
Mm-hmm.
there's no hunting on Sundays, so
There
maybe,
is no hunting on Sundays.
Correct.
so maybe what it
Yeah.
could be is from September 15th to January 1st, the hike challenge is only on Sundays.
Mhm.
Okay. All right, any other thoughts? Or ideas? All right,
Do you-
no,
Yeah, sorry. Do you like need any way to verify that people have done it? Like, do you want them to submit a picture from each, or does it not matter at all?
I don't know, what do you think?
I think there has to be a list and you have to be able to write down the trail, the date. Sometimes when we do it, we say who accompanied us. We always take pictures anyway. That when we've done our patch kind of thing. We've never had to submit pictures.
Mhm.
Sometimes we have to submit a little blurb, a little, paragraph, like what was your favorite trail or something like that. And then that gets submitted and looked over by a committee, and then they send it to you as saying, yes, you can get your patch.
That's basically an affidavit stating that you're attesting that that you
Yes.
completed the trail.
Exactly.
I think I'm thinking of it not so much as an angle just to make sure people are being honest, because like who really cares, but more like creating some sort of, you know, bank of information that you guys can use for a later project or like a newspaper article, or like here's pictures from everybody who did the trails this year, or here's
Mhm.
some fun things to do in Mendon. This is what everybody said about our trails. How cool are we?
Yeah. Yeah, I like that idea, Laura. It isn't just necessarily accountability, it's that we can use this for other uses.
Yeah, you might have to get everybody's permission, but yeah, I mean, just a thought.
Something else that, I mean, maybe not starting off, but kids enjoy hunting for things. Like it might be fun to like hide
Yeah.
some symbols, like each trail have somewhere like a symbol or something, like a
Right.
picture that they have
Like a
to
little
find and write
scavenger.
down, like, like
Mhm.
what animal like symbol was on, some trail. And
Right.
then they just write that in, and
Right.
it's like not
Actually,
a lot of
that's a fun
work,
thing for
but it would
kids,
like
yeah.
kids would enjoy that. Like,
Definitely.
so.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, it's a scavenger hunt.
A little
Yeah.
scavenger hunt. That would be really fun. Yeah.
And I don't think it would add too much more work if
No.
people are out there, like somebody could just go through and like, I don't, I'm thinking like where the trail markers are,
Mhm.
maybe just
Yeah.
have like some of those have an additional thing to
Sure.
look for.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, and that's something where the trail stewards could be helpful, say, okay, what are you gonna hide in the woods, or what are people gonna be looking for? And then, yeah, that's nice.
Yeah,
So maybe that could be the,
yeah.
well, Laura, like if you have some specific ideas or questions, can you just email them to the land use committee? That'd be great. Okay.
So it makes me think of geocaching. I
Yeah.
don't know if any of you do the
heard,
geocaching where I tried it a little bit, but yeah, people
Where you hide things.
that hide things, yeah, and it's,
Yeah.
but then there's like a physical prize. I don't think we need to do that, but just
No.
like a little incentive just
Mhm.
for the kids to
Yeah.
find something. I mean,
Mhm.
there could conceivably be another like little gift for kids who do it, like.
Mhm.
I don't want to
like-
get too complicated though.
Yeah,
I'd rather, I
right,
just want
yeah.
people on the trails, so,
Yeah,
yeah.
Right,
yeah.
Yeah.
Then they get the sense of achievement then.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And just one comment in this whole discussion. Should we think about maybe picking or designating one of the open spaces to start this program off with? This, to open up all the woods and do that all at once might seem like a little much. So just a thought, if there's a trail system that is preferred and that anyone wants to start the program off in a particular set of woods, maybe we see how that goes, or you could open them all up and, do it that way. Just a suggestion.
I think what Upton did was they had 10 trails that you could go on. You had to pick 6 of them. And they were just on all the different properties. Like some of the bigger properties had 2 trails you could walk, so you could do the 2 trails in one day or whatever. I think it would be more interesting if we have it open to all the trails in town. Personally. Because the
Okay.
idea is to get everybody out in the, on the trails. Because on the master plan, one of the big comments was, we need more trails and open space in Mendon, and I think it's like they don't know it's there, and so that's one of the reasons we wanted to, do this.
Mhm. So are you saying you want a certain amount of trails to be hiked?
I thought it was kind of a nice idea,
Just like 10 or whatever, something
or
like
even
that?
like, 6 out of 10 or whatever,
Yeah. So
like
you'd have a
Upton.
list of those trails and they would pick out either 6 or 10 or whatever they want to do.
Yeah, and
At least 6, you're saying.
yeah, and it could be the, on the land use committee website, you go there, and then 10 choices are there.
Yeah, they
um,
would have to be the list, obviously, yeah.
And what time of year are we proposing?
Well, I would say at this point, whenever things can get pulled together
Yeah,
and advertise it,
Right.
start it,
yep.
and then have it, and then maybe have it end like January 1st, 2024.
Yeah, yeah.
But then on September 15th through January 1st, say only on Sundays.
Right,
Okay, got it.
So it would be sort of a year.
a year, yeah.
So theoretically a year. Okay. I think that's great. I think it sounds great.
I mean, and also we can start it and then advertise it as we're doing it. So it's not like we have to advertise it and then it happens, since it's like on a rolling basis and ongoing,
Mhm.
you know, once we have it together enough, then we can just start it, but then, you know, people can put it on Facebook and, you know,
Yeah.
let the scouts know and everything.
Did Upton have a time frame
They
for
did, I
theirs?
think. No,
I don't know. Did
I'm not-
Upton have a time frame?
I
I
thought
don't
they,
know anything about the Upton one.
I think they did, but I'm not 100% sure.
So
Okay.
so should some of us or somebody kind of go through the trails and be
Yes,
sure
we-
the
we
signs
do.
are up and,
Yep,
and that,
we would
so
have to do
somebody
that.
doesn't get lost out there and there's no sign.
Yeah, arrows, blazes, all
Yeah,
those
yeah,
sort of
what-
things,
I
yeah.
don't know, I
Yeah.
mean, that probably should be some preparatory
Yeah, so
work.
Mhm.
I think maybe like, I could send out an email and then, Bill was definitely interested, you guys are interested. I
yep.
think it'd have to be, probably a physical meeting would be good.
Oh, yeah,
You know,
yeah.
so you can look at it.
Yeah.
And then anybody that
Yeah.
wanted to, join could figure that out.
Yeah,
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 okay.
so maybe that will be one of the first steps.
right, just physically finding the ones that we want the people to go on.
Mm-hmm.
And the different, the town forest, and you have the Meadow Brook ones and wherever, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Cormier Woods, is that's part of Mendon or is that
Part of it,
Uxbridge?
it's in Mendon and Uxbridge,
Oh,
but
yeah.
we've worked with the trustees of reservation,
yeah.
like, we work together to,
Yeah.
preserve the Meadowbrook Wood properties.
Okay, because they
Yeah.
got that old foundation off of one of their
Yep.
trails down there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's
I
actually,
don't see why we
That's
couldn't
an Uxbridge
include that.
oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So, all right, well, I think we have enough information.
That'd be good.
I think
yeah.
we'll just kind of work on emails and maybe someone will just say, I will organize this. And then.
Well,
Okay,
definitely put us down, and if Bill wants to do it, and
Mhm.
anybody else, you know, we
Yep.
can get together and physically go out and look at the trails and make sure they're marked, whatever, yeah,
okay,
make a list.
all right, anything else on the hike challenge? All right, I'll just keep an email kind of list going and then
Yeah,
we'll work
email
from there.
Everybody.
Do we have you have everybody's names here that are an email?
Yeah,
I
she's
do,
got
I don't
mine.
have Laura Backrax and I don't have Gregory, so if you guys want to be on the email list, just send it.
Mhm. Yeah, I
Totally.
sent it through the website. Mhm.
Okay, thank you.
It's good.
Great. Okay,
Great.
all right,
A new challenge?
Yay.
yeah.
I know it.
Yeah.
A local challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Easy,
And
you
there's a
don't have
lot
to
of
drive
pretty
too far.
trails, and there are a lot of really pretty trails in
Oh,
Mendon.
my gosh. they
yeah.
are.
All right, everybody's welcome to stay, but you don't have to, except for the land use committee members.
Okay, 'cause we're
Um,
not members, but
so,
you'll keep us posted though.
We will.
And we will certainly be involved.
okay, great, thank you so
Great,
much.
Ann.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thanks.
Did you guys get a chance to look at the minutes?
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes as written.
Second,
Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Barry, I.
Carolyn?
Carolyn, I.
Lena, I.
Ann, I. Frank? Frank's muted.
Oh, sorry, voted aye.
Okay.
I'm
great.
talking to myself over here.
Okay. Um, all right. Okay, so the next topic is, naming the Applewood open space. So the Applewood open space is in it's in a, open space subdivision and it's completed. And next week, they're gonna transfer the open space to the town. And so, the people that used to own the land who sold it to the developer are the Testas. And Brian Testa, the son, I guess, talked to the developer about naming the open space after his parents. And so I've been talking to Brian about it. And one of the things I had said to him is that most of the properties that we've named, we tend to pick like a physical aspect of the open space versus someone's name, unless someone like donated, the property. But in this case, they, sold it to the developer. And so when I was talking with Brian, he said, well, how about a stone bench? And I said, that would be really nice. And so he was going to talk to his brothers and see if they would chip in and get a stone bench. And then I thought the land use committee could have a plaque on it with his parents' names. And he was a police officer. And so they wanted to put the canine dog's name, Rocco, also on it. And the other thing too is that Brian did donate all the money to put the signage around the property. So I wanted to see what people thought about that.
Having the stone bench with the parent's name and the dog's name.
Yeah, I mean, and I said we don't have money to buy a bench, and so that's why he, offered to do that, which I thought was really nice and be really sweet to have on the property, I thought. So.
Yeah, a stone bench is a lovely idea. It's not going, it's very permanent.
Yeah. Anybody else have a comment on that?
Do we have any suggestions for names?
Yeah, I mean, we could call it the Applewood Open Space because it is by the Applewood subdivision. That's what I've been calling it, but I don't know, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we
Yeah.
need to call it that.
It's a nice name. I mean,
Yeah.
it's,
I mean, and there were a lot of apple trees and orchards in Mendon, so it's definitely has a historic kind of
Yeah.
ring to it.
But that wasn't actually a location for an apple orchard, correct?
That's a good question. I don't know. I'm not really sure why they picked Applewood.
Okay.
do we know anything about the property historically? Like,
I don't know. I mean, that's something we can look into. We don't really need to name it right away. But it is something that we should think about. So I think that's a good point that maybe we should find out the history of the property a little bit.
Is the brook that runs through it have a name?
Oh, I
believe
didn't
it's a
know.
perennial stream.
Oh, okay.
What is, I'm sorry, I missed what he said.
There's a stream that runs through it. And so the name of that stream, we could name it.
Yeah, that'd be nice. That
Yeah,
would be
That's a
reasonable.
perennial stream. I think that runs year round. I don't think that's a intermittent stream.
Yep. It's on Providence Road. If you got the map up, I
Okay.
could show you where it is. But that also could be something that we could ask the historical commission. They're really good about, and they like to research different properties. And so maybe we could ask the historical commission.
Mm.
Yeah, maybe somebody had a
Sure.
homestead on it back in the day.
Mm-hmm. And then just as I've said this before, but the only access through the subdivision is through someone's property. It's an easement, which is not great. But now we have an easement through town property off of Morrison Drive that goes to the open space. And we can access the property, and that will be included in the conservation restriction. Oh, sorry.
so it's off, so this is Morrison Drive.
Yep, and so, this isn't the town, I can show you better on my computer. It's off of, the subdivision is, if you go down Providence Road, it's on the right
Mhm.
before Morrison Drive, I believe, and you can go down and see it, and, that's the location. All right.
Ah, I think that's the satellite view.
Yeah,
I
that
think
looks
it's
right.
that. Okay.
Yep, and then in the open space, with this subdivision, like there's a subdivision. And then the open space is like connected by a teeny little piece of land, and it's really kind of separate. But it's, like 26 acres, and it's nice, and it's, the open space subdivisions are great because the town gets open space at no cost to the town. And the developer also gets benefits because the roads are shorter and
Mhm.
they don't have to spend as much money. So it's kind of a win-win.
Did we get a parking area in Applewood?
No, but this was before, we've changed the bylaw now, so the parking area would be from the Morrison Drive part. And it's actually the parking lot of the fire station is where people, could- and that's where the entrance would be.
Oh, okay.
We've changed the bylaw now that parking is required, so, yep.
I thought that
Alright.
was in effect when he bought that property.
You know,
I thought the bylaw was in effect when he bought that property.
I think, you're right, it was.
I don't know how he got away with what he did.
Yeah. Yeah, and the thing is that where the parking was proposed, they really like wiggled out of it because the easement is through someone's property, which we will maintain.
Yeah, that wasn't
But
supposed to be the case either.
Right, and that, the bylaws changed, so that won't happen again. So I think that the main entrance will be through Morrison Drive. We're learning, and so are the developers, so.
Yeah.
And thank you, planning board. Barry's on the planning board. He's been very helpful with that. Anything else on that?
Nope, we'll just see
Okay.
what the name of the stream is. Maybe we can come up with a name.
Yeah. Then I wanted to go back to the EV charging stations. Last time we talked, we were going to add a new charging station to the town hall area. And one really great piece of information is we got a grant for $46,000 for the charging stations, and the town has to pay like a little less than $3,000 for it. So that's really super. And the grant also came with 3 years of software. So I know the discussion last week was, when the public is using the charging station, will they be charged? And so yes, we can charge them because we have the software, and it's free for 3 years with this grant. And then the 4th year, the town has to pay, and it's like $9,900 a year. So I think at that point, we'll know if it's worth spending the money in the software, depending on how many people use it.
Mhm.
So that is good news. The old charger, still trying to figure out where it may go. It ends up the senior center. They use it a lot, so it might go down there. And the old charger, you can't put software on it. So it'll be more really used by the town.
Okay. Do you know what level charger this is going to be?
I think it's going to be the mid-ranged one, not the,
Level 2?
yeah, it's not going to be a fast charger, I don't think.
Yeah. So.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, the fast chargers are more expensive.
Yeah. But it's great. The state wants to be
Yeah.
putting this in, so they're giving a lot of incentives for it as long as you're willing to apply, and they're helpful. So, all right. The next thing I want to talk about was 34 Milford Street. And I want to show you some maps. So I need to share my screen. Ugh. Okay, let's see. I'm going to share my screen. So share screen.
So is that share up? Oh,
Where?
share?
Yeah, okay. So, okay, I'm going to share the screen. I just got to get out of some stuff here.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So it's junk on my computer. All right, so here we are. Okay, so I'm going to share the screen. And that's what I'm sharing, right? So push that. No, I'm not sharing it.
You are sharing.
Hey, can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Yep.
We see
All
pretty
right.
trees.
Yeah. Okay, so you can see this map, right?
Yeah.
Okay, can you see my cursor moving on
Yes.
it? Okay.
Yes, there's an X as a plus sign.
Okay, great. Okay, so this is Route 16 right here, okay? And this is North Avenue. All right, does everyone kind of have their bearings? The drive-in is here.
Wait,
So the town.
over there. Yeah, yeah, got it.
Okay, so the town owns this piece, that ends in a 3, this green piece, which is open space and preserved, which ends in a 20, and this piece 36.
Mhm.
So I'm going to show you another map of that area, which is an aerial view. And it's the same property right here. Here's Route 16. This is the drive-in. And when the town initially bought this property, this piece here was bought for future municipal use. This piece was bought as open space. This has a conservation restriction on it and only can be used for open space. This piece was the idea was to sell it for, commercial use. So we have the solar panels back here. And the town sold the front piece here to a company that is going to put storage units on there. And they will block them from Route 16. And what's really cool is this, an RFP was sent out and this business was selected. They will give the town $40,000 for trails. And they'll also donate like 6 acres right here, which abuts this open space. And Kathy Schofield and Patrice Murphy and I walked the property yesterday, and this business will also put parking in for us. And so right around here, we'll put in some parking. So that's pretty cool. And what I wanted to show you also is Muddy Brook is right here. And so that money might be used to make a footbridge over the river as part of the, or stream as part of the trail. And then this area right here, we have, can you see this square kind of?
Oh, down there, yeah, yeah.
It's like an open field, and we have funds to do a pollinator garden. So it eventually might be nice, another trail to park here, walk through the woods, and then get to the pollinator garden.
Lovely.
And so,
Is Kathy Schofield going to do that?
yeah, she's kind of in charge of the pollinator garden. Not too much has happened. It's mostly at this point, getting rid of invasives. That's the first step.
Yeah.
And then adding some natives. That's going to be a many-year process, but, so right now, like, we're kind of working on figuring out how to do the trails, and then eventually Meadow Comet Land Trust, they hold the conservation restriction on this property, so they'll probably do a new conservation restriction for the extra 6 acres. So that's permanently preserved.
Lovely.
So anyone that's interested in, being involved, let me know. But that's what's happening. And it's even though it's right off of Route 16, it's a really nice forested area, and the stream's really beautiful. And, there's old historic sites in there.
I always wondered what was down that dirt road. I had no idea there was a solar grid back there.
Yeah, yep, solar. Yep. So that would be the entrance to the open space, right there. We would use that road, and they'll put like 6 spaces in just on a pervious surface. Yeah.
Sounds great.
Great.
Yeah. All right. Any questions or? Okay, good. Then the other thing we talked about is on the Meadowbrook Woods property. Oops, you still see my screen. Wait a minute. How can I unshare?
Yeah, probably click that window, make it bigger.
I know.
Just click somewhere on the window for
This one?
Teams. You want to bring Teams back up to the front.
Right. There.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then there should be a stop share button.
Okay. There we go. Hi. So on the Meadowbrook Woods property, which is off of Park Street, right by Kurt Labudis, that's where he is a land steward. There's a cabin. And so we talked about figuring out how to use it. We've been talking about this for a long time, but it just, somebody needs to do it. And so anyways, Dan Byer is the Parks and Rec coordinator. And so he would like to kind of manage this. And we have $2,400 in an account, which can be used. The cabin, the Boy Scouts have fixed the cabin up. They spent another around $2,500 in residing it and cleaning it and putting a new roof on and everything. So But then it kind of was at a standstill. And so some of the things that we're going to look into is we were thinking that we're not going to worry about water. People that might rent it would just bring their own water, but we would need like a composting toilet. Outhouse, so we'd have to talk to Board of Health. Building inspector would have to look at it. There's a chimney in there, we'd have to have a chimney sweep, check it out. Check other town policies that rent cabins. Figure out the insurance that would be related to it. Thinking that most of the money, if someone wanted to rent it, would be for maintenance of the cabin, just to keep it up. It would be no parties, no alcohol. People would have to carry the garbage out. There'd be a security deposit and probably someone that would have to check after each person rented it. So
Could you handle all this through Airbnb or something like that?
I think we'd have to do it more. I mean, someone would have to go and physically check it and everything, and they'd have to get the key. And
I've always wondered, because I go pass it a lot, and there's that sign that says if you'd like to reserve it, but it looks somewhat overgrown as of late.
yeah. I mean, it definitely needs some work, and it's a great scout project. So I mean, if you're, no one wants to work on it, but it's up on a hill. There's the path down to the water, which isn't really swimming water. It's really muddy on the bottom, and there's water snakes and stuff. It's just not, but kayaking might be good, but we'd have to look into insurance and things like that. I think it would have to be the kind of thing where if people were going to do it, it was at their own risk, and,
I'd love to be involved in any way I can, clean up or whatever, because I mean, that's a stone's throw for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it'd be kind of cool. I mean, like, even if, the scouts could, say they have a whole bunch of cots that can be pulled out, because during, I think it was after 9/11, the government had a lot of grants for like emergency preparedness. And so they have all these extra cots. And so they're in the cabin right now. So people can use them. Because I think they got other cots or, things for being prepared for an emergency. But okay, yeah, I will let you know. We the Wiersmas are also interested in it. And so that's where it's at right now. I'll let Dan know that you're interested. Things are slowing down for him. His summers are crazy, so things are slowing down a bit.
Sounds good.
And that is all I have. Does anybody else have anything?
Motion to adjourn.
Second,
Second.
Elena. All right, all those in favor?
Gary,
Aye.
aye.
Carolyn, I.
Well, thank
Have a
you.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Yes, you too.
Yeah, same to you.
And, welcome to the extra people that came to the meeting. Thank you for attending. That was great.
Thank you.
Thanks all. Happy holidays.
Thanks for your interest.
Happy holidays.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys.
Take care.
Good
Bye-bye.
night.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So.